Right then, rain brings an early end to the first T20I between England and India in Northampton. England had posted a 177 for 7, setting India a 178-run target. India got to 54 before heavens opened up, and at that point they were 18 runs behind the DLS par score, which meant that England take the first game as well as they take an unassailable lead in this multi-format series where they have notched up 10 points to India's 4. In fact, sorry, 8 to India's 4. So at best, India can level the multi-format series. But remember, the T20I series very much alive. Let's take a look at that batting scorecard first. It's a very short innings of just 54 balls and of 52 balls. And look at that, Smriti Mandhana, 29 of 17, and Harleen Deol playing unbeaten knock of 17. So we'll talk about this match and also that catch of Harleen Deol on this edition of The Outside View Live. And I'm joined by Vanitha VR as well as Ananya Upendran. Ananya, let's start with you. That Smriti Mandhana's knock, that was one part of the game that we saw before rain meant an early closure. Your thoughts on how she went about with that inning?
She looked in good touch, didn't she? I mean, like she was carrying on from that third ODI. You could see that she regained a lot of rhythm in that knock of 49, and she looked in very, very good touch today. I think her shot selection was a lot better. You could see her like timing the ball very well, past point. It's a strength of Smriti Mandhana, but again, the dismissal was something we have seen since 2017. Since Marizan Cup set her up in that 2017 World Cup, you see teams attacking her with the deep square leg, with that short ball. Those low hands mean she's invariably caught there. But it was a very promising knock. I think while she was there, England would have been on the back foot, and that was one wicket that you could see what it meant to them.
Yeah, Vanitha, let me begin by kind of pulling your leg. You said 160. India went down by 18 runs. England posted 177. So you kind of plus minus, and it actually comes down to 160 as a winning score. So your thoughts on how this game panned out, the first innings, especially in short?
Well, the way they went about, because like I said, they are very good white ball players and stroke makers in the team. And with that only, I calculated that, score pacing their innings. But look, on a larger picture, they're very good they know what their strength is, and that's exactly what they did. And the way how Amy Jones supported Siva was brilliant, and the way she batted is something unbelievable. I felt it was just sheer display of power, which we hardly get to see in women's cricket, and that's what we witnessed today. And I've become a fan of her batting today. It's absolutely power and only power domination. I felt somewhere, our Indians, we could have, cut or pulled them back, but there was some loose ends with the bowling changes I felt today. And that's what costed them that extra 20-30 runs. I mean, we gave them the 20-30 runs. Otherwise, we could have been somewhere at 150, 140, 150, I felt. But it's because of the bowling changes what we made, that we gave that extra 30 runs.
Yeah, they say this about Chacha Chaudhary, a character, that his brain works faster than a computer. But Vanitha VR's calculations are also probably faster and also kind of quicker than you could imagine. But your thoughts on Smriti's knock, Vanitha? It was a brief innings, but she looked confident and assured in her footwork. But that fall, that wicket, as Ananya said, that is something that's not probably digesting well, isn't it? Because we saw that in the test match or in that one-day international series as well. Your thoughts on how that mini innings of Smriti panned out?
See, honestly, I'm for somebody like a Smriti Mandhana, I wouldn't expect her to be getting this scores. But see, I'm not okay with this kind of scores that she's getting. By now, she's a senior player. I wanted to carry through the innings, and that's exactly what I said. The pre-match also, that I would want to see a Smriti and Harman batting till the end. I'm okay with the figures of somebody like a Harleen or somebody like, it's just or Richa scoring this and saying, okay, it's a nice crisp knock. But somebody like Smriti, we expect her to do much more, because she knows that, even she knows it. It's not like she's not aware of it. She knows it. But I feel somewhere, she should either be cutting that shot off or taking that shot off, or really work on it, because that's something which we're seeing regularly. She's been getting out and people are trapping her at that place because they know what her strength is. They know where her strength lies. And that's something she should really give it a thought, because somebody like a caliber, 20s is not something which we would like to settle down. We would want to see more of it. I mean, I would love to see Smriti finishing and going not out. Even if it's 15 ordered, I'm okay with it. But I would love to see Smriti doing that. And that's exactly what I probably am expecting the next two matches from her. Because being a senior player and the vice captain in the team, she should lead from example by finishing the games.
If we kind of look at it with a magnifying glass, what exactly is the issue? Is short ball her issue, which apparently isn't, or is it just lack of power in her game?
See, I wouldn't say lack of power. It's something, probably she should be very careful about the shot selections, because that gets her runs. It's also a shot making. It's something which she has to really give it a thought when she has a fielder. Probably place the ball little down, or roll the wrist, or probably generate some more power and hit it on top. Like how you've seen some English cricketers just getting underneath the ball and going over on top. It's a choice now. It's about decision making, and how she wants to do it. It's completely up to her, because she has done it in the past. She has addressed so many technical issues in her batting. She's so much an unorthodox batter, you'll see, with a left-hander. I'm sure she will address this issue also, because this is something which people are trapping her time and again at international level. And we see Smriti going excellent, playing exuberant shots till like good 20s and 30s, and then suddenly there you see she's getting carried away with that. And I'm sure that she should have thought about it. She's somebody who wants to get better with every game. I'm sure she would have given a thought about it. The next two games, I probably want to see a bit more responsible Smriti Mandhana finishing the games for Indian team.
Indeed, England had posted a 177 for 7. 178 was the target. All eyes, as it has been throughout this India tour of England, were on Shafali Verma and the start that she would have given India. It wasn't to be, Ananya, that battle that she's having throughout this tour against Catherine Brunt. This time, yet again, went in her favor. Those two balls, what could you kind of make out of it, and your thoughts on that very brief stay of Shafali Verma in the middle?
Well, it's a method that she's used through the series, backing away against Catherine Brunt. She doesn't look like she's confident staying or keeping her ground. I don't think she looks comfortable. And I mean, Brunt kind of followed her today. It's not something that she did in the ODI series. She kind of kept bowling that off stump line, which meant Shafali had room to kind of guide her to third man. But she followed her today, and it worked. I think Shafali, again, is someone who will solve these problems. She'll figure out a better way to tackle her. She has played every single game this series, so she hasn't had time to go back and think about how she can tackle her better. So it's an interesting matchup, and I think the experienced bowler came up trumps. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less of Catherine Brunt. She is someone who thinks a lot about her game, very, very intelligent, been around for a very, very long time. So she knows exactly what she's doing. And I think it's 2-1 Brunt. I've stopped keeping score because it's such an entertaining thing to watch, but Brunt's way ahead in this series.
Vanitha, despite those pull shots that she executed, you weren't a fan of Shafali Verma moving to the leg side, are you?
Definitely not. I mean, I would want her to move across the stump and not just backing off and not moving away from the ball. I would definitely want her to get behind the ball or, beside the ball. That's what exactly a batter should be trying to get. That's the better position. But look, the kind of position that she is in, she's always making room to play against somebody like a quality bowler like Brunt. And that's exactly what they're also trying to make Shafali do, because they know where our weakness lies by now. She's sort of tentative playing short pitch delivery. She's not comfortable with short pitch delivery no matter how much she's practicing. That's simply because she moves away, she withdraws from the stump. That's not what a great batsman should be in the position to play certain shots. And all she has to do is just probably get behind the ball. That's something which can be sorted. And look, they have a lot of time spending there, and I'm sure with time she'll get better. But I don't know, I'm quite surprised with somebody like Shafali. It's not just getting better, and today's case was simply because it didn't have enough bounce. She was expecting the ball to bounce to her body, so she actually moved behind so that she could just tap it down and run. But that didn't bounce because of the nature of the wicket today. It kept a little slightly lower than compared to the other matches that we saw, and that is also one of the reasons why she got bowled. Otherwise, that would have actually hit her body line. But that's not what we want to see from Shafali. I'm sure she'll work on it, like how other cricketers have worked on their short pitch balls. But there is a way to sort this out.
Well, then 177 for 7, placed 54 for 3 when that rain brought an early end to the game, which meant that India fell short by 18 runs. And let's come to the moment of the match. And I'm not going to ask you for choices. We are going to pick one, and that is that catch by Harleen Deol to dismiss Natalie Siver. Vanitha, your thoughts on that catch, and what was your first reaction when you saw that?
I was like, wow, wow, finally our Indians are doing it, because I have seen this, other countries do it. And it was as good as watching a men's game today. Trust me, like I said, the power factor was something which was entertaining. And then you see extraordinary effort there, pure athleticism, being shown, displayed. And I was like, wow, what more? I think it's worth the while, staying up and watching this late. And I'm sure, people whoever has watched it would have enjoyed it, because I thoroughly enjoyed the way a presence of mind was brilliant over the rope. She knew exactly where the rope was, and then, to just pull that over and then come back and just take that catch. It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? I mean, pulling off such a wonderful catch. And that's a proud moment for all of us, that somebody is actually setting up standards there in the Indian team.
It was in fact Amy Jones' dismissal and not Natalie Siver's. But Ananya, how much of these kind of catches, acrobatic catches, is about mind than the body?
I think it's all about awareness. It's about understanding your body position in terms of where the rope is, in terms of how much distance or how much space you have to work with. It's all about that. And it's also, we talk about power when it comes to batting and bowling, but I think what Harleen showed was just the power in her legs to kind of push herself up to get to the ball. And those tiny little things play such a big difference, and just the presence of mind to be able to push it, keep it in play, and dive in the air. I remember in under 19 cricket, a lot of people say when you dive, in the air like that, they used to call it a fish dive. And in these situations, you really need to know how to fish dive, I suppose, because that's what kept her in the game. And I think it was just the power, the poise, and the presence of mind that she showed, and just the general awareness of where she was on that boundary rope. I think Mark Butcher spoke a lot about how there was a little bit of a gap in the rope, and that she didn't have to kind of jump over, or she didn't trip over the rope because there was a gap. But I think it was extraordinary, and to see an Indian, like Vanitha said, pull that off in women's cricket was just extraordinary.
Go on, tell us what your reaction was at that point, and what first thoughts came to your mind looking at Harleen's catch.
I mean, I think all of us just thought, wow, that's the only thing. I was just lost for words. I was like, I just said, wow. And it was a fist bump, because I mean, I get really excited when I see fielders do well. I think it's a part of the game that we need to drastically improve. So to see the Indians kind of lift their standards in patches, but they did really well. Even that run out that Deepti Sharma executed of Heather Knight, extraordinary. The previous, I think, a couple of deliveries before Jones got out, there was Harmanpreet Kaur who pulled off a stunner as well. So just to see all this come together for India was really good. And yeah, my initial reaction was just wow.
Quick, don't think in just one name. Smriti's catch in that third ODI or this Harleen catch in this T20I? Vanitha, you first.
Arlene's catch any day. There's no
No competition.
Yeah, Smriti has its own charm, but this one is extraordinary.
Right then, two more T20Is to come your way. Let's look forward to that second T20I. What are the possible areas to work on, Vanitha, you think, with respect to that Indian batting? I know we saw very little of it. We saw that new approach that Harmanpreet Kaur spoke about, but could you see any areas that they need to work on, especially on the batting?
So it's not a complete innings, but definitely power play is something which has to get better, because that will set the tone for the rest of the game. That's something that I believe that power play has to go well for us, because you don't have that great finishers right now on the team, because we're trying to figure out who our finishers are. So might as well utilize the top position what we have with Shefali and Smriti. And also probably I feel Harleen can pace up her innings a little bit more, but press the paddle slightly forward. And I felt I know it's first game after a long time, she's taking the time, but that's something which I would want to see number 3 coming and just rotating the strike there and not taking those dot balls too much. And of course, I want to see Harman finishing the game. That's something which is there for all of us. So, all the Indians are waiting to watch that innings from her. And it's just about the corner. It's see, look, when somebody hits rock bottom, you have no choice but to come up. And that's exactly what I'm looking at Harman's face right now. She's hit the rock bottom right now. And she has I don't think so. She has to think about anything. All she has to look is just come up. And I'm sure she's going to pull herself up the next game. And yeah, we'll get to see some display of next, hoping that display of Richa Ghosh and Deepti Sharma coming good for us. And then, yeah, probably the next game, we should be able to balance it out and not go this way around. Hopefully the nature will play our side as well.
Yeah, and then in the mid-show, we spoke about this first half at least being not about someone else doing wrong, but it was about things going your way, be it the batting team or the bowling team. In that sense, what particular areas can India work on with respect to their bowling?
Oh, well, I think, largely just, honestly, I feel like England's middle order kind of have our measure at the moment. And that's largely because all our spinners are very, very slow through the air. So you see the batters either charging down the track or they're hanging back in their crease. And if you have a pitch that's quite slow that allows you to kind of play even a length ball on the back foot, I think India will have to find a way to vary their pace, especially the spinners, because Radha Yadav started off as someone who was like Sophie Eccleston, much quicker in the air, but she's really slowed her pace. She's really tossing it up. And I think they just have to find a way to maybe dart a couple in to vary their pace, vary their angles. I think the cardinal sin is you cannot have your square leg in against England. They will sweep anything. And I know it's hard with only 4 fielders allowed on the boundary, but it just feels like you're giving them a free boundary. We saw Amy Jones kind of get into line of the ball and sweep or reverse sweep. So they have a lot of shots in their repertoire. And I get that, field setting is difficult in T20 cricket, but it's just about, I think, finding different angles and varying your pace a lot, because I think the Indian spinners especially were very, very predictable with their pace, allowing the likes of Sibber and Jones to just hang back in their crease and generate power. Indian batters don't have as much power, but Natalie Sibber was just pummeling the ball it was racing off her bat. So I just think a little bit of smarts in the field. We were very reactive again. So these are things that will get better. Radha Yadav was playing her first game of the tour, so hopefully you find that she's in better rhythm in the next game, and you just hope that they're able to bowl a lot more dot balls than they were today, because I think in patches they did bowl well. I think the seamer allow Wyatt and Beaumont to score freely through the offside, which is generally what they do. So there were a lot of good things, but then they kind of let it slip through the middle, which is generally what India does.
Right. I think one of the areas that Indian batters need to work on is contacting Natalie Sibber's bat manufacturer, because that bat seems to have a middle throughout the bat. So there's nothing except the middle. So that probably is one area. But right then, the next game is on Sunday. It's a nice evening game. If you are in India, it's a day game. In England, it's at the county ground in Hove. So we'll catch you then before the game at 6 p.m. Indian time, and see you then. So till then, take care, stay safe, and stay at home.